Hey everybody, Mark Masters. Another Monday night. I think this is going to be a solo episode. I'm in an airport in Las Vegas. Have not heard from the guest who's in Italy. Did email him a week ago to remind him. Did not hear back. Emailed him again today, but I assume he's asleep. I'm going to try and set up some headphones. Although I don't really know why I'm doing this. Nobody's going to be talking to me. Uh, Anyways, maybe we'll keep this kind of short today, but I haven't done a solo episode since July, so maybe we can, I don't know, maybe we'll take some audience questions. Maybe we'll try and figure out this headphone thing real quick. And come back from San Francisco. We can definitely talk about that some. I'm in Las Vegas. We can talk about that some. Since last solo episode, I went out to Rhode Island. All right, we got our first audience question. Thank you, Mark, in the Carolinas. I think you're going to drive this entire show today. So start thinking of some more questions. I performed at the LA Comedy Club in the Dragon Room at the Strat, which is what they now call the Stratosphere. Most people know it as the Stratosphere. That was yesterday at 4 p.m. Everybody crushing it with these afternoon comedy shows, 4 p.m. on a Sunday afternoon, middle of football mania. But it was a great show. It was incredible. I was the second comic on the lineup, which is kind of rough. There were like 15 comics. So I was not the bullet spot, but pretty close to the bullet spot. Had a very solid set, very happy, good audience. There were like 45 people in the audience when I started, and more like, I got a little bit of a runny nose here. That's not attractive for video. I got a nose for radio right now, and I don't have any napkins or anything, so I'm kind of wishing I did not address that. Anyways, so 4 p.m. show, went up second, did very well. 45 people in the audience. There were 70 by the time I left. So it was a really fun room. They were hot. They were very into it. It was a competition. There were 15 comics I was competing against. See if I can pull up a quick list here for the viewers. Here's me just a moment ago. Outside the Strat, walking to a public bus. You know I'm crushing it. Not only am I doing 4 p.m. shows, but I paid $2 to get from the Strat to Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas. It was a fun show. Let's see, Sunday 4 p.m. Here we go. Here was the competition. You can see the how do we do this? The list. There they all are. So I went up second. Like I said, had a strong set. Let's see. It was kind of interesting, a little disappointing. Sometimes you do a competition and you're obviously evaluating everybody else, and usually there's some people who aren't very good. That was me in the past, definitely. I'm not saying they'll never be good. Just they're not good yet. They got a few more years of open mics before they get some solid jokes together. That was not really the case. 15 comics, I'd say 14 did good. Uh, really, there was only one who was a little bit weak. I heard that the 6 o'clock show was generally weaker than the 4 o'clock show, which is kind of a surprise. It was a stacked thing. Um, so we got a side question about the slot machines. I think over at Caesars or MGM, they're still off uh, intermittently, but at the Strat, they were going crazy, and I can hear them right now. There's some slot machines over there as we speak. You can see them. You can see them operating. This is real time reporting. Mark Masters here at Harry Reid International Airport. Uh, so, anyways, as the show is going on, I'm getting pretty nervous because everybody's doing pretty good, and only two people can advance. Uh, so I'm like, until like 10 people in, I for sure had one of the top two uh, sets, but then it got a little murkier. And just to spoil a long story, I did not advance. Two other very funny comics, deserving comics, advanced. And the word on the street from the judges who I talked to last night and today is that there were 4 or 5 comics that all deserved to advance, could have advanced, were good enough to advance. Um, and the obvious follow-up question is, well, was I one? Answer I got was definitely I was in that top group. So it was nice to hear. And one of the judges did book me for a headlining gig in 2024. I'm not available on that date, but I hope you guys can still hear me okay. Very loud all of a sudden. So anyways, one of the judges booked me. I think one of the other judges is a comedy club owner. I believe may book me, and another one works with a large, uh, very famous comedy chain in a major city, and I for sure will get booked there. Probably unpaid work, but it's a big city. That's how it goes. All right, we got Mark. You're fueling this show right now. Let's see, is this? I think my internet is not terrific. I'm on the free airport Wi-Fi, and all right. How was the crowd? I know comedy shows have a reputation of a distant. Yeah, that's interesting. I think I've talked about this before. Um, I have not enjoyed most of my casino shows. This was a little different. The crowd was great. They were awesome. If anything, they skewed a little older than a typical comedy club audience, which for me works great. Sometimes I struggle with younger audiences, and I definitely I did mostly clean material, which was not a requirement, but I did hear afterwards that people were impressed that I did so well. Like I got a pretty extensive applause break in the middle of my set, and people were surprised that I was able to do that with clean material. All right, one more comment from Mark. I'm very excited for this to be over so I can go get a milkshake. It's going to be my treat. I went for a run this morning. Was out late in Las Vegas last night and ran 4.5 miles this morning. Pretty happy, pretty proud of myself for doing that. Going to blow all those calories on a nice milkshake or something. We'll see. There was a big cupcake vending machine that I walked by when I flew in yesterday. It is like a 24-hour trip in and out. Okay. Well, that covers Las Vegas. Is there anything else interesting I can share? A lot of football stuff going on yesterday. Um, yeah, didn't advance. Kind of a bummer, but not the end of the world. Let's see if we can. Maybe I can pull up a picture of. You know what? I just realized my phone's in black and white. Trying to quit my addiction to my phone, and so that's. I've been running it in black and white pretty much all day, every day, instead of just at night, which I used to do. But I am going to pull up a picture. I think there's a picture of me on stage I can probably find that somebody texted me. I'll get that for you guys. It's going to be a little blurry, but you'll get a good sense. How do I make this full screen? Second here. Oh, that's terrible. Not a good. Well, you'll get the idea. So, big LA Comedy Club logo behind me. There I am on stage, my red sweatshirt. Pretty full room. So there's a cool had my name on a TV up there. It's nice. See that over there. So anyways, that was Las Vegas. I'm flying back tomorrow. I got a show in Castle Rock, Colorado. Sold out this morning, which is fun. As a show producer, you try and build these shows and make them popular. This is my fourth, maybe, Castle Rock comedy show, and it is the fourth for sure. Because after the third, that was long enough that I decided to invest in a website. We have a website now, castlerockcomedy.com. I bought a backdrop for the show, so invested a little money. I'm gonna do some new lights. I'm gonna bring in chairs, and it's the first time we've sold out a Castle Rock comedy show, which is a little surprising because it's one of my smaller rooms. And Castle Rock it's south of Denver, about half an hour, and really booming. So I think this could be a very cool show eventually. And I'd love to get it to a point where it's just selling out all the time. The ticket prices are pretty cheap relative to the shows I did in Vail. Let's see. We got another question. is about Las Vegas. We're going to go back to the picture to answer that question. Let's see. I can bring that up real quick. There's me by the Strat. You can see I'm actually on the edge of a industrial wasteland. Um, so it's cool angle for that photo. Definitely do not recommend that walk for safety purposes. Here's kind of like a better picture of what um, the show looks like. That's one I took. You can see the showroom a little bit better. It's a cool little room. It's fun. They have a curtain. They can block it off. They don't have a ton of audience members. All right. So anyway, so this question was local comics or traveling. Let's just go through the list. Chevy Terrell, Akron, Ohio. Mark Masters, Denver, Colorado. Aaron Foster, Reno, Nevada. Greg Benavent, North Hollywood, California. Tanner Tuttle. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see that was number 5 is the first local comic, first Las Vegas comic. And we had Charleston, South Carolina, Las Vegas, another local, New Jersey, Illinois, Arizona, Los Angeles, a third local. So 3 out of 15 were local. One came in from Canada, Sabrina. She was so funny. She's great. Hope I get to work with her again. She was terrific. The ones who advanced, by the way, might as well shout them out. Number 8, Brian Vallone, who applied to the Vail Comedy Festival. Didn't get in last year. Very nice guy, very funny. Hope he applies again. And Joe Stapleton, who also applied to the Vail Comedy Festival and did get in, was a little bit of a hit this last year at the Vail Comedy Festival. A lot of fun. Late night with Joe. His life of party. A lot of fun. Let's see. So we had a new new question in here. We're almost halfway done. We're chopping this out. No problem. Solo episode. I did reach out to 2 other, actually just 1 other comic to see if they could step in. Never finished the last text message to the other one. Does Comedy Works South cannibalize some of the audience? That is a question about Castle Rock Comedy Show. Clearly, no, I don't think so. It's a half-hour drive. And usually my shows are like Tuesdays or Wednesdays when the club isn't even operating. So not really competition, but a little inside secret sauce here. We are considering doing some weekend shows. I do frequently send surveys to my customers, people who come to comedy shows. And one of the pieces of feedback I got from Castle Rock was they wanted weekend shows. So I may try that. Going into 2024, I'm trying to set up some 5-night runs. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I fly in a comic from New York or LA, and I give them 5 nights of work all around Colorado. When that happens, the Saturday night shows will be in Castle Rock. Hopefully, we'll see. Got a little bit of a. It's always something with venues, and I love our venue there, Lost Coffee. They're terrific, but we're trying to navigate how best to keep those shows going in Castle Rock. So yeah, all right, let's talk about San Francisco. We're about halfway done. That covered Las Vegas, I think. I did just take a trip to San Francisco. I was there for about a week. I think 6 nights, 7 days. I was sick when I flew in, not feeling great, and so the opening weekend was kind of a bust. I had some opportunities to do some stuff, and just didn't go because I was not feeling well. And then on Sunday, uh, I did do 2 shows. The first one was a Jewish show. I'm not Jewish. I was the token. Oh man, what was it called? The token. There's a word. It's apparently a little bit of a put down. I think it starts with a Y for somebody who's not Jewish. It's Yiddish for Goya, maybe Goy. Hopefully, I'm not saying some slur in Yiddish. But anyways, I was the token non-Jew on the show. It was very interesting. It was in a ritzy area north of San Francisco. Drove over the Golden Gate Bridge to get there. It's always cool. and it was in somebody's backyard. It was like a birthday party celebration comedy show. There were like 75 people in the audience. It was great. I'd say the average age was closer to 75 than 25, which is kind of fun. And I did a pretty long set. I think I did 15 minutes. And I remember telling the host that I might finish early because I don't remember why. I think they wanted clean material, and for some reason I wasn't sure how long the jokes I had were going to take, or if they were going to, if I was going to do well in an outdoor. It was like 100 degrees. It was baking. Somebody brought me an umbrella in the middle of my set. It was pretty funny. Let's see if I can get a picture of that for you guys. While we're waiting. Ta-ta. Umbrella, umbrella, where are you? Here we go. Yeah, there I am on stage with my umbrella and help block the sun. Anyways, I was at like 14 minutes when I realized I still had like 3 more minutes of material uh, and needed to get off the stage. So I skipped jokes. Um, it went great. Is a long way of saying it went very well. That show. They don't always go well, by the way. I prefer not to talk about the ones that don't go well, but there are bad shows. They happen. Let's see. So I'll continue the San Francisco story in a second, but we got some questions. I want to make sure we don't miss those. By the way, if you just tuned in, I'm at Las Vegas International Airport. I got a flight in an hour and 15 minutes, and my guests did not show up. They were supposed to be here from Florence, Italy. So I'm just doing a solo episode talking about road gigs, stuff I've been doing recently. All right, that's awesome. That's what Helium does. Any specific concerns about 5 shows for the same comic, or does that make your life easier? That's interesting. I think in some ways it's kind of fun to get to know a comic and go on the road. That's one of the best things about comedy, in my opinion. It's kind of like being at summer camp or something like that. You're just goofing around and having a good time. Spend a lot of time in the car driving. These folks, I definitely say some comics are more fun than others. It's like any coworker you might have anywhere. But as you can imagine, some of the comics are freaking hilarious, like nonstop. Like I can't turn it off. So it can be pretty fun. I think for now. I definitely ask me on night 4 if I've been sleeping on some couches or something like that, and I might be annoyed. But definitely, boy, you know what I am learning during this experience here, live streaming. I'm not ready to be a radio DJ based on the number of. I'm gonna try not to say again. I try and be deliberate about that. But definitely during the first half of this episode, quite a few of those, whatever the word is, uh, utterances. I don't know. Okay, so helium does that. I don't really know what that means, but maybe that means the runs, something like that. So I do enjoy spending time. I got to write my August monthly newsletter. I have a monthly newsletter, and I'm behind. I'm writing the August one. The August one will contain stories about being on the road with Nathan McIntosh. We did a 3-night run together, and he was incredible, just so fun to hang out with and super funny. And right before that, the month before, I had Jeffrey Osmus. We only did 2 shows together, but he was really entertaining and interesting and a good hang. So it goes up and down. We'll see. I pick up another comic tomorrow in the airport and have several uh, shows. All right, here's the helium clarification. Thursday to Friday. Oh, got it. See, that's all in one room. My runs are different rooms every night. So typical one would be Loto Comedy Show. That's in Denver on night 1. Night 2 would be Eagle, Colorado, which is technically a Vail Comedy Show. The third night would be a Vail Comedy Show in Vail, Colorado proper. Fourth night, Breckenridge, Colorado, another ski town. Should be a Friday night. Would be a weekend, and then Saturday in Castle Rock. See if we can make this a thing. I mean, if it works out, the it's good for me because I can do 5 shows, a lot of stage time, pay the comics pretty well, and knock all that out in a single week. I'm gonna have 3 weeks to do my own touring stuff or be booked on local shows. So that would be kind of fun. Um, oh, neat. Yeah, he bought that's Jeffrey Osmus. He bought that shirt at a store in Vale Village, and I kind of wish he would have asked me for a Vale Comedy Festival T-shirt and worn that instead. But I don't think that's his style. Um, I am hoping that he posts some clips from his Eagle or Vale show, but I have not seen those yet. It's kind of a bummer. All right, so we got a question about pickleball material. Yes, pickleball material did well in at the Jewish show, and we can now go back. We only got 10 minutes, guys. Less than 10 minutes. This guy gets a milkshake. A little reward for doing this whole thing. 30 minutes. 30 minutes of nonstop comedy talk at Always Bookin Comedy. How do we get the here? Let's flash the there's logo. You can't see the logo when I'm solo. Let's see what can I do this? Oh, look at that. There we go. There's a little logo. That's kind of fancy. Um, oh, there it was. I said I think I made it like 3 or 4 minutes without saying the dreaded word. So back to San Francisco, Sunday afternoon show. That seems to be my my go-to 2 weeks in a row. I did a Sunday afternoon show. One was a 3 p.m., one was a 4 p.m., both Pacific time. And then at night, this is incredible, really, really exciting. I did the Punchline in San Francisco, which is a storied club. Uh, very soon there was another. Sorry guys, there was a it was a good club. You know, Dave Chappelle drops in there sometimes. It's like Comedy Works in Denver. Very difficult to get stage time, and I sent in tape, and they have like a kind of new talent showcase kind of thing, kind of like what Denver does on Tuesday nights. They do it on Sunday nights, and I got a spot. It was very there it was again. It was very confusing. I found it very confusing. I did not know for sure that I was going up until close to when I went up, and the booker came over and just whispered into my ear and said, "You're up in a few." Like, okay. I didn't know how much time I was doing. I'd been told 5 to 7. I didn't know if there was a light. Uh, there it was again. I didn't know anything about what was about to happen. I stepped outside, figured out a 5 minute set and what I could do if I had more time. Stepped back inside. A few minutes later, the host came up to me, who I knew, which was a nice surprise. The host for the night was Devontre Coleman, a star from the 2023 Vail Comedy Festival. He came up to me and he said, "All right, you ready to go?" And I'm like, "Am I up next?" He's like, "Yeah, you're on in like 30 seconds." And I was like, "How much time am I doing?" He said, "5." I said, "Is there a light?" He said, "Yeah, I'll come from that back corner." "Nobody told you any of this?" I said, "No." And then he had to run onto stage. So he introduced me. Oh, there was one. He asked me how I wanted to be introduced. I just said, "Tell him I'm funny and I'm from Colorado." And so he introduced me. I got up on stage, and I had something happen that hasn't happened in a long time. This used to happen at open mics when I was just getting started, where I would do a spot in a new place and just be overwhelmingly nervous. I'm up there doing jokes that I've done over and over and over again. Is my best material, and just something about the lighting and trying to figure out where the audience is and how to not fall off the stage. And it's an unfamiliar environment. I mean, I was in the room for an hour before I got up on stage, but when you're on stage, everything's different. You can't see, the lights are crazy. You're hearing your own voice. It's loud. So it was disorienting, and the whole confusion getting on stage. I felt like it wasn't my best stuff. I did 5 minutes. I definitely forgot a line at some point and didn't know what it was, but had gone past it and was trying in my head to remember what line I forgot. Could not figure that out. That was interesting. And I decided to do a cleaner closer than I have been doing on some other sets, like today or yesterday. I did a little more PG-13 closer that is very strong. and the cleaner one didn't do great. And I don't think it was because it was clean. It was just the room was it was kind of weird, to be honest. The audience was kind of weird. I did not have my best performance ever. I was definitely shook by the whole experience. Would do much better the second time I'm up on that stage, and I'm looking forward to going back and doing that. Um, but even if I had done my best stuff, I don't think it would have gone incredibly well, just because the audience was a little weird. They were pretty spread out and not super receptive. Kind of maybe some foreign audience members or people who hadn't been to comedy shows before, maybe some people who didn't pay. Not really clear, but overall, it was an incredible experience. It was really fun. Definitely a comedy club, dark nighttime, people drinking. Had a lot of fun. Did get some tape from it, so it's exciting to have that tape, and had a good time in that show. We don't really have much time left, but I did do some other shows. I there's a strip club show on Monday nights. There's no strippers, but they have a show that it was kind of unclear if I was going to have a spot or not, and I ended up not going because I didn't really want to go and not get on, and I ended up having dinner stuff that kind of conflicted with it. And then on that was Monday, so I didn't do anything Monday. On Tuesday, I did a great show in Oakland, actually north of Oakland, in Richmond, California, little town north of Oakland. Incredible, really fun room. Just so like just a great room. Maybe 40 to 50 people in a tight space with concrete walls. The laughs just never stopped. Every comic killed. It was really fun. I got to feature. I did 25 minutes. I got paid. I felt really well for that time. And the headliner, who I gotta look up his name because I do want to shout him out. Not only did he drive me all the way from San Francisco to the gig last minute, which was incredible, saved me like a 3 hour fart adventure. He was just very kind. I've worked with him before. I featured for him once before in San Diego on a clean showcase, Comedy Heights in San Diego. How would I find his name without making this take forever? I think, hey, warmer. Richard Sarvate, Sarvate. The very next night, he recorded an album at the Punchline in San Francisco, so definitely check out that album whenever it comes out. Very cool. He was super funny, really nice guy. Had a great time at that show. My only complaint was I hadn't had a drink in a long time, and I was going to have a drink that night. And at a tiki bar, I liked me some rum, and I got basically unlimited drink tokens. And it turned out the drink tokens were only good for beer. So I decided not to have the beer because I didn't want the calories, and I was kind of getting over a cold and didn't want to extend that any. But I would have done it for a nice rum punch or something. So that was Tuesday. Wednesday night, I did a spot at Cheaper Than Therapy, and we're landing this plane. We got about 90 seconds. This has been a solo episode of Always Bookin Comedy, where I've covered just whatever, really stream of consciousness. Maybe you sitting at home watching this should try this sometime. See if you can talk 30 minutes into a little hole in your laptop in the middle of a busy airport. It's not the easiest thing I've ever done. But I guess I get up on stage and talk for an hour sometimes to sometimes a lot of quiet as well. But so Cheaper Than Therapy, great show. Right off Union Square, fancy part of San Francisco in the Sutter, no, in the something theater. A nice theater, starts with an S, I think. It's downstairs. It's a fun room, very cool. They uh, they do a great job, and I had a lot of fun doing that spot. That was my only complaint with that room is that they should turn up the microphone. It was a little quiet. I'm not like a yeller into the microphone usually. I think that room would have benefited from a yeller. A yeller probably would have done better. A very high energy comic. And trying to figure that out personally, whether I want to be high energy. Because when I do an hour, I'm not super high energy. But when I do 5 minutes, 7 minutes, sometimes you want to be high energy just so people notice you. Um, and I feel like in real life, I do have some energy when I get excited about things. But anyways, this has been another episode of Always Bookin Comedy, live from Harry Reid International Airport in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's currently 6 p.m. and I have a flight at 7:07 p.m. So I'm gonna get a treat, probably a milkshake, maybe a root beer float. I wonder if I can get a root beer float in this terminal. And I will see you guys next week. Next week we've got Brad Galley in Denver, Colorado. I'm very excited about that episode. He's been running shows forever, and we got to thank you, Mark. You're a hero. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time, everybody.